World War II was full of twists and turns, moments so crazy, so unexpected, that they completely changed the course of history. From surprise battles to shocking betrayals, here are the turning points that will leave you speechless. Let's take a deep dive into the most unbelievable moments of the war. In the winter of 1942, one of the deadliest and most crucial battles of World War II took place in Stalingrad, Russia. The German army had pushed deep into Soviet territory and was determined to capture the city, named after Joseph Stalin himself. The Germans thought victory was inevitable. They couldn't have been more wrong. As the Germans laid siege to Stalingrad, they encountered fierce resistance from the Soviet forces and the civilian population. The brutal winter conditions, combined with Soviet reinforcements, slowly turned the tide. By February 1943, the German Sixth Army was encircled and forced to surrender. It was a crushing blow to Hitler's forces, marking the first major defeat on the Eastern Front. The Battle of Stalingrad turned the war in Europe and put the Nazis on the defensive for the first time. Home of the most audacious military operations of the entire war was the D-Day invasion. On June 6, 1944, over 156,000 Allied troops stormed the beaches of Normandy in northern France. The Germans had fortified the coastline, expecting an Allied invasion, but they weren't prepared for the scale and ferocity of the attack. The Allies launched a coordinated assault from land, air, and sea in what became known as Operation Overlord. It was a high-risk, high-reward operation. If the invasion failed, it could have been catastrophic for the Allies. But instead, it was a massive success, allowing the Allies to establish a foothold in Europe and begin the liberation of Nazi-occupied territory. This victory in Normandy marked the beginning of the end for Nazi Germany. In the Pacific theater, the Battle of Midway in June 1942 was an absolute game-changer. Just 6 months earlier, Japan had stunned the world by bombing Pearl Harbor, and they were on a roll, conquering vast territories across Asia and the Pacific. But at Midway, everything changed. The U.S. Navy, using cracked Japanese codes, was able to anticipate the Japanese attack and set a trap. When the battle began, American aircraft launched surprise attacks on the Japanese fleet, sinking 4 of their aircraft carriers, an irreplaceable loss for Japan. This marked the turning point in the Pacific War. Japan's navy was severely weakened, and from that moment on, the United States gained the upper hand. While the war in the Pacific was changing, things were just as intense in the deserts of North Africa. In North Africa, the Battle of El Alamein in 1942 became one of the most decisive victories for the Allies in the region. The Axis powers, led by Germany's General Erwin Rommel, had been advancing across North Africa, pushing toward the Suez Canal, and potentially seizing control of the Middle East's oil supplies. But the British forces, under the command of General Bernard Montgomery, stood their ground at El Alamein. In a series of grueling battles, Montgomery's forces managed to push Rommel's troops back, marking a turning point in the North African campaign. The victory at El Alamein not only stopped the Axis advance, but set the stage for the Allied invasion of Italy. Of course, the most shocking turning point in history came when America dropped the first atomic bombs. The war in the Pacific was taking an extreme toll, and Japan refused to surrender. In August 1945, the United States decided to use a new weapon, the atomic bomb. On August 6, the U.S. dropped the first bomb on the city of Hiroshima. The destruction was unimaginable, and yet, Japan still didn't surrender. Just 3 days later, a second bomb was dropped on Nagasaki, leading to devastating consequences. The sheer destruction and the horrifying power of these bombs forced Japan to accept defeat. On August 15, 1945, Japan announced its surrender, effectively bringing an end to World War II. World War II was full of these unexpected and life-altering moments that shaped the future of the world. From the turning tides at Stalingrad to the shock of the atomic bomb, these pivotal moments not only changed the course of the war, but also reshaped the global order in ways we're still dealing with today. Looking back at these events, it's incredible to think how a few key decisions, battles, and innovations changed the world forever. These crazy turning points remind us that history can turn on a dime, and sometimes even the smallest details can create the biggest impacts. Which turning point do you think was the most shocking? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more deep dives into history's most unbelievable events.